that bitter cry, that bitter cry, that bitter cry. Scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Well, good morning. This is the morning of mornings, and man, I am super happy to be here with any and all of you today. As you know, we're hosting our second part on our series on human trafficking, and I can't be more anxious than ever that I have been to present a continued conversation as it relates to human trafficking, how we're approaching understanding and realizing what is our role, what can we do, and what even is our responsibility. But before we get into anything that is going to be as deep as this conversation will continue to be, and I want to welcome all of you in. You know, I'm very happy to be here with you live today. Good morning, Bill. Gonna just put that in real quick, and we'll talk back in a second, Bill. It's good to see you're here. And great morning to, I said, Callahan. Thank you. He says, great AM, have a great show. Senabella Gill, Jazzie, no nonsense, the poet. Blessings multiplied in abundance because I said it. I know that's right. And good morning to you too, Abantu. It is such a good thing to see you all here. I'm just so grateful for your presence. And so since I have your presence, let me open it up with my mantra, which is really the set it off, if you will, in sort of the putting the positive energy and to make sure that we bless our path forward going into this and what it is that we discuss. So here we go. Let's just go. And I just want you to know I'm really feeling just spiritually the significance of this subject and how much of it is that we need to continue to pay attention to and put prayer and efforts into. So let's just get right there. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. 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 So beautiful, beautiful. I want to wake up feeling 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 beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. I want to wake up with the joy in my eyes and love in my heart. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. So beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let that sink in. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. Greetings, 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 greetings. Wow, we are here. How are you? How's everybody doing? Hopefully you feel beautiful inside as we endeavor to embark upon how we support one another, how we remain responsible in that support, and how we see ourselves directly to being just another human being on this planet, having this miraculous experience together. So with saying that, I'm going to just go back to Bill Morton. Bill, I hope and pray that you're healing and that you're feeling better. I have not ever seen anybody with such a resilient spirit as yours. Man, I mean, it's like you write like all over it. Went from my fall or trip at the train station to the calamity with the damage that it caused to your ankles. I believe your feet turned around and both of them had to be readjusted. And I mean, that's just a big thing. And Trudy Leon, your beautiful partner, she shared that information with us. And since then I've been praying, and I know you've received hundreds and hundreds and thousands, maybe even, of salutations and love for yourself. And I just want you to know that is immensely important, that we continue to pour love into each other. And it means the world to me that you're here with me this morning. So good morning. And I'm going to keep praying for your complete and full healing. Of course, everything we say matters. Everything we do matters. And you know what? You matter. Hey, Lawrence, how you doing? I'm so thankful for you being here. This miraculous man, he was on my show as a guest, and we really discussed the act of love and responsibility, which is what we do today. So as we come into today, and I've set my mantra as the prayer going forward, it also is important for us to acknowledge that this here whole show is about this. And I just want to put it out there. It's about this. This is what's it about, what it's about. And these children have been missing for a long time. So I want to say their names as we start, so we go into this right. And I want you to say their names as you see it as well, please. Let's talk about and put the spirit of love in the activity of bringing our children home. And then I'll share with you a little short information before I bring back in to our studio today, our honored guest and speaker, Jazzie No Nonsense, the poet. But here we have Harmony Robinson, 17 years old. Yeah. Here we have Raquel Lloyd, 17 years old. Here we have Tiana Crystal Halle Berry, 16 years old. Here we have Nile Nicole Fauntleroy, 16 years old. Here we have Aaliyah Daniels Rose, 14 years old. Here we have Kimberly D. Argueta Pinata, 16 years old. Here we have Nicole Natalie Dazzo, 15 years old. And I just want to acknowledge and thank the brother that put these up for me to have the opportunity. His name is Orlando Knight, and he's on Instagram. I want you to go there and follow him. He's diligently continuing to share with us all of the missing from his perspective, from what he's able to gather. And we need to continue to share the information, so as we pray, we can put their images in our heads and find ways to comfort our hearts as we realize that, hey, you know what? If it were me, what would I do? And so just before I go back, I bring in Jazzie, I want to say really quickly, last night, and everything that's in my traffic right now is about human trafficking, in terms of, say, if I should turn on the TV, the radio, or anything. It's all, well, when I say listen to radio, I mean podcasts, as it relates to human trafficking. So I think that the calamity of it is that I realize that it's just so, it's everywhere. And it's been going on for a very, 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 very long time. And it's just hitting my radar. And I'm just so grateful that at this moment I can say that human trafficking has always taken place in my life in some way, and I just didn't know it. But I'm grateful that I'm well, and I'm here to talk about it, and maybe say for this day to have Jazzie come in and to talk about it. So I went in online, and I just want to share something with you that was from the Invisible Institute. They did they hosted a series of virtual and in-person reading groups designed to dig deeper into our missing children in Chicago. And they're reporting with a small group of engaged readers. And meeting bi-weekly, these groups discuss main themes in the reporting and work together on possible solution ideas to combat the crisis of missingness in Chicago. They call it missingness. Wow. Nearly 30 people participate in these reading groups across Chicago and digitally, culminating in a large event and exhibition at the Chicago Art Department. Attendees were encouraged to read missing persons reports we received via FOIA requests, to partake in an altar space of remembrance for those missing and or murdered, and to provide their own ideas of how Chicago police could better serve our communities and families of missing loved ones. So here they say in this here first part, and I'm gonna go right into this and complete it as quickly as I can because I want to bring Jazzie in. They said, treated the new need for infrastructure, a public case data portal that allows families to track updates on their loved ones' cases. Throughout every step of the process, police should send updates and provide all relevant information to the case. The frequency of updates can vary, but the option should be rooted in data, i.e., average length of time for specific investigation efforts to happen, investigative effort options, changes, updates to cases, and family requests should be considered. These are not national precedents for these public databases, but the addition of timestamps would be critical. Trauma-informed support for families, more conflict resolution support between kids and families, paid time off for emergency family leave to search for their loved ones, a missing persons toolkit that offers counselors, resources, and strength and support networks, a standard procedure that all cases should have, a certain number of reports on news, TV, radio, a set of requirements to meet before a case is closed, required follows up step up. Look, the Invisible Institute, you can go and find this information, or I'll just make sure I'll share it. If you want it, I can put it in your box. In the meantime, there's more I'll give and I'll share it throughout the course of what we're doing. And right now, if you're ready, I am as well. And I want to bring in CEO Jazzie No Nonsense, the poet. Good morning, Jazzie.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. I'm blessed to be here.
Me as well. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I don't know how you have been able to maintain a temperament of well-being in this long journey that you've had. Can you kind of like respond to that as a person who is like, yes, this is your always conversation. Am I correct?
Yes. It's one of my always conversations, and how I've maintained my mental is knowing the work that has to be done, knowing that the word has to continue to grow, knowing that people still need to be protected, knowing that people don't know this information, just like you just stated, that you're just being aware of this, now this coming into your feed. And that's what keeps the push on, that keeps pushing parents who are mourning today, children who are mourning today about their missing siblings, their missing mothers. That's what keeps the push going. The heartfelt, the empathy about the whole thing, even the thought of what is happening to the people who are snatched. Just the thought of it, keeps me going. And so, that's what keeps me going on this fight. And it's a continuing fight. It's a continuing fight that will never end. Because this is a billion-dollar industry. This industry is number 2 to drug trafficking. So those are the biggest 2 crimes that happen in the world, and human trafficking is the second one under that. So if human trafficking is the second biggest crime in the entire world, we got a big fight ahead of us, but we can gain a lot of traction. We can gain a lot of traction if we all do this together. If we're all from state to state, world to world, if we all come together to gain traction, we can curb this crime. But in some levels, this crime is done on so many levels that you can't curb it all. Because some of these crimes are traditional crimes as culture crimes, where people sell their children off into human trafficking, and you really can't kind of curb that, but the ways that we can curb things is they have 5 P's to anti-human trafficking.
Wait a minute. Before you go forward, you said it's a traditional and cultural crime.
Yes.
Jesus. And so could we say this is predated by slavery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
And now, and now predated to now, it's still happening. Some cultures believe in selling their daughters off for money, at a young age, 12 and 13, some of older men for money. Now she has endure a horrible life the rest of her life because of her culture. So it's sometimes it's about where you're born, how rough it's going to be for you, even if you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, because most of these people who kind of sell off their children be rich people. They be already rich, and it'd be to come together to have more money, to get more money, to merge their companies together and things like that. And so that's another form of human trafficking. And then you have the form of in the house of human trafficking that might be in your house, and you're getting taught, you're getting groomed to be human trafficking. Or maybe you have another way of getting human trafficked by maybe you have a single mother who can't make her ends meet. She meets somebody. They said that single mothers are very vulnerable to becoming human trafficking because of poverty. Poverty brings human trafficking. It makes
what? It's amazing how many things fall under the heading of human trafficking. I don't know about you all, but this is really illuminating and startling at the same time.
Yes, so it's so vast. It is so vast. But far as in your neighborhood, like in Detroit where I am, we have the east side, the west side, and we don't say the south side or the north side. We don't say that, but we do. We have southwest, northwest. We don't hardly say that, but those are the areas of Detroit. And in every area, like in Michigan, we're one of the highest ranking human trafficking states, because the reason why some states have more trafficking than others is because Detroit is on the border to Canada. And we have the 94 freeway that leads to everywhere. So if you're in a state that leads to like another country, like for me to go to Canada right now would take me 20 minutes to go to Canada. I'll be out the country in 20 minutes. I'll go through the tunnel, show my passport or whatever I need to do. I'm in another country. And that's why Michigan is one of the highest ranking states, because we have a pathway to get out quickly.
Now, I read that Louisiana and Mississippi are also highest ranking.
Yes, they are. Yeah, wow. Yes, they are. Yes. In Mexico and California, but every state has human trafficking. Every 50 states in America has human trafficking.
Given what you just defined, it's happening every day in our homes.
Right.
And we're not paying attention to it because it's become commonplace.
Yes.
And we're also not, because we also became sort of, let's not pay attention and tell on each other. So people stopped telling or reporting to police or family members when something went wrong, because there was time was check and balance with family. And if somebody did something wrong, Lawrence, you can tune in on this, Bill, you can tune in on this. I said it can too. You come home and you tell your family, people went and took care of the business.
They did.
There wasn't no such thing as a lone wolf out here trying to figure out how to do something by themselves. But because the climate's changed and it's sort of zipped mouth, I'm not saying nothing, it has run rampant, and it has shut down any security systems that could exist. Yes. How do we get,
that's the saddest part. The saddest part is the home part. Is when a child or a person can't be safe in their own home. And when you're not safe in the home, it makes you vulnerable on the street. Because pedophiles and snatchers, what I call them, they are trained to look for certain things in people, vulnerabilities in people where they know that's an easy target. They train for these things. People just don't wake up and be like, I'm a snatcher. They actually train people like psychology to watch out for people who are vulnerable to this, who will be easy targets.
So like a job orientation, come in, orient you to the status of how to go about doing it. Just like they did for drugs, you know, they gather their teams of young men and women, girls and boys, and start. Yeah, it's how can I say this? I don't know what to say. I'm just kind of, again, everything is just like impacting me spiritually.
Just imagine somebody. Imagine being somebody being hard on their luck, and somebody offer, you know, I'm gonna give you $1,000 if you tell this girl to come down the street. People are doing things like that for money, you know, because this is all tied into poverty, homelessness. The homeless people are the most vulnerable to human trafficking. They are the most vulnerable. That's why it takes a whole 360 to curb this, even with the homelessness. If we can curb homelessness, we can curb human trafficking.
And also, when you talk about homelessness, once a child runs away, they become homeless.
Yes.
And
those are the most trafficked, runaways, homeless people. Those are the most trafficked because those are the most vulnerable. So the most vulnerable people in our community, we need to be looking out for those people.
Wow.
And so it's just, you know, it's like, you know, people is walking around like see no evil, hear no evil, you know, like with a blind eye.
Like it'll go away.
Right.
Like, it'll go away if I don't pay attention to it.
So we're going to talk about if anyone, because why I'm here is to get the word out for other people to begin their own organizations in their own states. I'm going to travel and keep on traveling. But my word is to spread around for people to start their own human trafficking groups and warehouses and alert systems and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's it's 5 P's to anti-human trafficking. 5 P's. So it's prevention, it's protection, it's prosecution, it's partnership, and there's policy, right? So you start there. If you want to start, you know, joining in on this fight, first you gotta say, how do we try to prevent human trafficking? What are the key points of human trafficking? And like I have stated, homelessness, runaways, bad home environment. Those are, you know, if you wanted to start targeting things, if you want to start gathering people on where you should start, you know what I'm saying? And then you have the protection. We have the protection side of it, where how do we teach people to protect themselves as they go to improve? How do we tell the homeless how to protect themselves? How do we tell young women how to protect themselves? How do we make them alert and aware while they're doing their daily business? And then we have prosecution. We have the laws. We have to have, like in Detroit, if you kidnap one person, it's 10 years for that crime. Now they can add more. You know, if you hurt the person, you know. But I believe that should go up.
10 years if you kidnap someone.
10 years.
That's a good start.
It's a good start, but I think it should be harder than 10 years. I think it should be like 30 off the rack, you know, life just off the rack.
When you think about it in terms of like what kind of crime it is. And so, in other words, you're basically taking someone's life away from them. So
it's like murder.
It's living murder.
It's like murder.
Yeah, it's a living murder. Yeah.
It's a living murder.
Yeah,
it's a living murder.
So Naima says here, she says, this is why latchkey children are in such danger coming home to an empty house because parents have to work. We have to have trusted relatives. We used to have trusted relatives and neighbors to supervise them, or safe after school programs so children won't be alone. Yeah, I mean.
And latchkey came about when I was like a child, you know, because latchkey didn't always exist.
Latchkey kids, right?
You know what I'm saying? So latchkey came about when I was a child. I remember when that word latchkey started coming up, you know, and And with that, that was a breakdown right then. That breakdown that happened where we had to keep on working and working and nobody could even be at home. That's a total family breakdown. And that creates vulnerability to human trafficking. That creates human because when your child, especially, you know, government, you know, CPS and things like that, you have to trust these people with your children. And a lot of those people have been, you know, traffickers.
Well, let me just address this here too. The neighborhood spots in which we entrusted our children, or my mother, your mother, entrusted us to go to, and many of you can speak to this, and please do. I want your comments, please, in the section. Just please, let's just keep commenting. I recall when we were young, because there were many of us, we always had to walk to school together and come back. Yes. And if you were lucky, you got to go to an after-school program. Yes. Because parents wanted you to come home. But at the end of the day, churches, community housing, you know, what was it called? They were
recreational centers.
Recreational centers were really where everyone went, but it was also a part of a stimuli for the grooming and the hurt and harm of our children. Wow. And the conflict that it caused also became part of the zipper mentality in our mouth, not telling anything.
Yes.
You know, yes. And so we have to understand the root of why so many of our institutions are not highly regarded anymore.
Yes.
Because they were not careful in their assimilation, you know, in assembling these after school and these community programs where children should have been playing safe volleyball, changing in locker rooms, priests not doing this, ministers not doing that, community leaders not cheating the community. I mean, this is such a deep rabbit hole.
It is. When you talk about community leaders, you know, and that's where the breakdown with trust, where people can't even trust the community leader or the basketball coach or the doctor, because it's such much money that they're all in. A lot of them are all in on it. So that's why you have to be so aware, even when you're going to the doctor, you know, everywhere, because of greed. Because of money, because of greed, people will harm people and do the worst type of things to people for money, And ironically, as I continue to watch international news and the breakdown of the International World Court, as they're trying to tell Netanyahu and the Israelis, hey, look, you know, we get what happened to you on the 7th was rough, but now you've killed close to 1 million people. It's time for you to understand that this cannot happen. I mean, it's shameful that it took this many people to be gone for it to happen. But you look at the Middle Passage of African American, over 20 million people were killed in the Middle Passage coming to the United States, not to mention the harm and the killing and the sex traffic and all of the things that took place in that. You're right, it is cultural. It is, and it's in every aspect of our lives. Rooting it out is going to take all of us. Because now you have, they call America, the mixing pot. So now you have America who has all these other different cultures who believe that's the way of life. That's the way they live. So when they bring it to us and they take someone's child, it's not a bad thing for them. Mm. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing because that's how they were raised. Like women who are raised in that type of culture and they're sold off to the highest bidder, just like we were as slaves. When you do that, now she can't get away because she's a young girl with no education. And see, that's the same thing that when we had
how does education protect her? When you say education, are you speaking school, formal education?
Yes, I'm talking about formal education. Normally, if a young girl is married off, she's not being educated, so she's locked in where she's at. She's a real prisoner because now she doesn't know anything. She has to depend on her trafficker.
But what about the institution of in-home education? There are a lot of women who have not been raped and have not been kidnapped, and they grew up in homes where they left early and did well in their formal lives, as they went forward. I mean, everyone has not been impacted. There has to be there is a percentage of life that is what it is that has taken over, you know. And they always say the meek shall inherit the earth. How is that going to happen if the meek doesn't start trying to fight for the earth? So maybe in our small effort here today, those of us being meek are in some way trying to fight for the relevance of what is prophetic, is that the inheritance of the earth will come to the meek. And that's not a color thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And then also, I have to just say this as a, you know, based on what I said, it isn't the church. It isn't the church in whole. It isn't all the institutions or places of safety.
Of course
it's not every policeman. It's not every armed person in armed forces, but it's that small percentage that has allowed to grow and to really.
That bad apple we can't have. That one bad apple we can't have.
Right. Disease is disease. And everything, it continues to be rooted back to money.
It's all about money. About money, or, you know, if we talk about the other side of organs, you know, you have that side of human trafficking, because back in, I think, let me see, 2021, the money that was through human trafficking was $150 billion that was, you know, not raised, where, you know, gotten from this undercover crime, $150 billion. And part of that money, 99 billion of it came from human trafficking, like, you know, sexual human trafficking, and 51 billion came from organ trafficking, right? So you have all these very reasons why people snatch people. So you got people snatching them to be slaves, they sexual slaves in their home. You got people being human trafficking for work. But so how human trafficking affects work, far as the balance of revenue for us. Now you have a company that has migrant workers or illegal workers who are human trafficking for they can work under the wage. So when they do that, that affects our pay as well when people do that, because now they got this cheap labor that's human trafficking, and now the other company is paying top dollar for their real legal workers. So you have human trafficking in those type of ways where they're taking advantage of migrant people, alien people. They're taking advantage of that, and that's another economic imbalance it creates for us through human trafficking. So human trafficking creates so many avenues that are wrong, that makes an imbalance for our country. And it's everywhere, because far as the mental part of human trafficking, if you have how it impacts, like we had another a woman on the show the last time who asked about mental health, and I'm going to address that right now, and how it impacts mental health. It puts, if we can't curb this heinous crime, it puts another strain on healthcare, on social work, because now we have another different crime, another crime that's added to the daily struggles that we have as working people and things like that. So now healthcare has to find a way to, when these people, when people come, the people that are saved, who are victims, who are saved, now they have to bring them back here. So now you have mental problems, you have anxiety problems, you have depression problems, you have physical problems, you have mental problems. Well, so now that's another strain on the economy because of this crime.
Well, let's take a break real quick, and we're going to go to a quick commercial. And when we come back, I want to share some information about the laws in Illinois about the 24 hours before you can report someone missing. I want to share that, and then we get right back in with Jazzie, No Nonsense the Poet. All right? Okay, let's go to it.
It was right at Hot Flash Time. Ooh.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Wow. I want to take this opportunity to update anyone who's not familiar with it. And many of us are much more informed than, and I don't want to make it appear as though somehow many of us don't know this, but I'm sure some of you are very conscious, keep up, aware, and are people who see themselves as leaders and heads in our communities become and know and are aware of some of the information we share here today. They say that the Invisible Institute says that people want transparency, and to be engaged in the process. A lot of those expectations are unrealistic because of manpower. Clearly communicate what our options are, but put stuff on the line. So they say transparency and adherence to law. Police have often told people who report a missing person about a 24-hour rule to wait before reporting it. And that is against the state law. There is no 24-hour rule. In fact, the first 48 hours are critical to not be blamed, ignored, or dismissed as Black families often are. Connection to case management, other people with similar experience for support, social services, and grief counseling. After closure, through a review with investigators to discuss what options were explored. And in Atlanta, one thing the review board wants is to go to people whose complaints have been resolved to see if they're satisfied with the results of how they were treated, and a need for new infrastructure. So there are many things that are being approached and dealt with, but I think that it's upon us to take responsibility for what information that comes down the pipeline and is said and or is affecting us. And if we don't assume the responsibility of saying, put a demand on how to go about making sure things work out for us, and does not have to always happen at the level of going to the police department for everything. And as Jazzie was saying earlier, and I want us to talk about that, the formulation of neighborhood watch groups. Last show, we talked about our neighbors really are our family. They know more about us and see us every day. And so how do we galvanize those neighborhood watch groups to become participants in the security and safety of our children so that there isn't a need to read their names at the beginning of a show and say they're still missing, or that they've gone missing, or that they've passed? What are some of the things that we can do individually as a community watch groups? What are some of the things they've done in Detroit, Jazzie, that have helped to, say, push back on what's going on in human trafficking and have shown some success? What can Chicago engage in that you think that can be helpful? And then we can go find the stats on if we've done that already and what our success ratios are.
I don't think too much has been done yet to really formulate things, but what I want to do and what I'm going to tell the airwaves to do, this is my plan to bring awareness to this crime. Mm-hmm. Now, we need, like your storefronts. You have storefronts everywhere, the party stores everywhere, right? We need those people in with us. We need to have posters, you know, in those businesses saying, stay alert, be aware, like this business is looking out for the community.
Just like you see if a missing dog or cat, let's put up our children are missing. Here's a wall of respect for that way we keep them, make it obvious.
Make it obvious that this business is here for the community. Not with a missing child on it, but saying stop human trafficking. Mm-hmm. If you see that all around all the time, you're on your side of town, you're on that side of town, you see flyers, now you're staying aware because it's constant stimulation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's constant stimulation of this crime. You're walking in the store. So they know if people know, okay, they got the lookout over here. Let's not go over here. Not even so far as bringing in a community, you know, like we got abandoned areas, you know, like areas we call them Detroit, we call them blight areas, right? Mm-hmm. So in these blight areas, I know things take money. So, and I know that these alleyways are dark, right? And a cheap way of doing things to have the community get involved, if someone had little solar lights that we could get up there and stick on houses in between these houses. And
that's working with the, you know, like we have we have Commonwealth Edison here, and ComEd gives away lights for pathways and things like that. So you're right. There are things we could do to adhere to a consciousness and awareness and make it more difficult for people to just come and walk through and not being realized.
Right. You know, so it's lights because, you know, our city is dark a lot. We need more lighting because I used to live in a city, Southfield. It's like one of the suburbs of Detroit. And I could go out at 10 o'clock at night and it was like it was 5 o'clock in the daytime. Mm-hmm. Because it was so lit up. I felt safe because I could be seen. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what we need to be able to be seen. And that's how the city can help or people in the neighborhood. And then you have, just like I was talking about, the east side, the west side, the north side. On every area of town, we need to have a community focus on this.
So how, again, let's go back. Oh, she said, who can folks, we got a question here for someone. We got a couple, but I wanted to say, I want to talk more and get real specific in that neighborhood community watch group, how to come together, build that, to begin to, I love the idea of posting the kids' faces, you know, making sure people know the kids are missing, here they are. That way, when we are out and we see them, we recognize them. I think that's important because this is about.
But we have the missing posters. What we need is the stay alert posters, awareness posters, something big and bold, because people have really got desensitized to missing pictures. They're everywhere. Mm-hmm. We need something bolder, something bigger, something bolder, something bigger. Just like in here.
Yeah, because some children go missing and they're not found for 10, 12, 15 years. I've seen reports of where people were 50 years missing and finally found.
Yes. So a lot of people do still be alive, being harbored. And we had talked about the Stockholm syndrome, because some women or men who become trafficked at an early age, they don't have education. They haven't been to school. All they know is their trafficker. So when they even when they can get away, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they even don't. Sometimes they go back to the trafficker. And then we got to talk about when your child or whoever comes home who has been human trafficked. That's a whole nother issue in itself that we have to deal with on the after effect of a person who has been human trafficked, on getting them back into society. Sometimes they don't want to go back. Sometimes they feel shame. So that's another whole part that we have to deal with as well, is our kids who we do find. Let's not forget about them, because they are traumatized.
Yes, some for life.
For life, and most for life. So let's not forget about that part. We got to
let's address. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, we have to do the pre and the post on here.
Right. Well, Lawana says, who do you call? And you can't call the cops, right? And so at the Invisible Institute, they said a standard procedure that all cases should have is a certain number of reports on news, TV, radio, a set of requirements to meet before a case is closed, or required follow-up steps after a case opens. And it's an internal step on how to reopen and classify cases. I'm trying to say it because they said that a pilot alternative of missing persons unit that would be doing alternative work to the police, because they often do not get it right, involving new hire positions and investigators, including mothers and families of folks who can change the way the search process is happening. Now, one of the things you talked about that took place with you, that was how you got started with this, was that you talked about how you went out and searched the street for your child when you realized the kids were missing, right?
Yes.
And if you had not done that, and if others in your area were not aware, then you wouldn't have had the return of your children.
True.
And so that is a specific, it's important. And thank you so much for Luana Traylor for saying that, because it's important for us to know. This is why that neighborhood watch is so critical, because we do know that it takes a minute for police to show up.
Yes. Yes.
And we do know that they say everything happens in the first 24 to 48 hours. Yes. And for you, it was within what, 24 hours, less than that, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
2 hours. Yes.
So in your movie, which we still don't have, I guess we have to do a 3 still, but we have to talk about the critical nature of family. Luana, one of the things that we discussed last week, and we're going to bring it back up today, is that we're not sharing information about what's going on in our homes. So when a child goes missing, Luana, oftentimes that child is missing long before you find out, as a mother, a grandmother, or auntie, or uncle, a father, a grandfather. And by the time they find out, it's 3, 4, 5 days later, and the trail is cold. We have to be more proactive in talking to family members. And again, let's go back to who is family. Family are the people who live next door to you. And some of those people may be part of some activity that's like dark behind the scenes. But once you realize who you have working around you and with you, you can better enable the opportunity of preventing or canceling out something that may have started already. Yes. And I just think in all of my last 2 weeks of research and talking to people in communication, Zelda and Luana and all of you, I have come to understand our biggest asset is communication.
It is.
Even if we feel like maybe that person's not right, at least now we have the sense of what's wrong in our community. Like, yes. Who is that person that's creepy, that's not really engaging in this here in a way that makes it feels like they're helping, but they're hindering. Can you speak to that some more?
I want to go back to family and the family structure. And one of the reasons that this crime has risen to how it's risen, because the family structure has been broken down. And when you break down the family structure, you create vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And as I've been on this road, I have noticed that that's one of the main attractions, that how this thing has got tractions, is because of the breakdown of family, the breakdown of how mothers are taking care of their children, our fathers are taking care of their children, to leave them out to really take care of themselves. That is one of the number one problems that we can curb as a family structure. We have to get right within ourselves and take care of our children right. That is one of the number one curbs of human trafficking, is to get back to family. Get back to family. And we could curb a lot if we get back to family and watching out for our children and making structures again like the olden days. I know that is the number one thing besides homelessness, poverty, things that are created. Homelessness can be created because you lost your job or something like that. Or then, like veterans are also a high target for human trafficking.
Really?
Yes, they are hard veterans.
Veterans?
They become homeless.
Okay. But so that's another thing. People are discussing, where are these people disappearing to? Is it all sexual human trafficking? What are the breakdowns?
The breakdowns are organ trafficking, labor trafficking, sexual trafficking. Those are like the three major things: is organ trafficking, sexual trafficking, and labor trafficking.
You said labor trafficking. So I have to think about what's happening with the immigrants here, the immigrant crisis, and we're all immigrants. Let me just say that. I just want to define the
Right.
truth.
Right.
And we were labor trafficked.
That's what I said in the beginning. That's how we got here, is, you know, by traffic. So just think about that. If we got here by being trafficked, how many people do you think are trying to stop this crime?
Yeah. And yes, Zelda, we need a whole lot of equalizers in our community.
Right.
We need a lot of them.
Right. So that's what we need to do. We have to create. We have to get the word out to create safe places in our community. Like some communities have neighborhood captains. They have neighborhood captains. They have neighborhood. So if your neighborhood doesn't have a neighborhood, even if you're in a bad neighborhood, create it. There's nothing to create. Everybody, I don't know anyone who is not going to be willing to help you do this in your neighborhood. But all you got to do is go out there and start talking to the people and come together in your neighborhoods and have the young people. We have to make this a whole, bring the young people in with you.
And stop making it appear that it's always somebody else's responsibility to get done. We're paying our taxes. Why aren't the police here? We have management in this here building. Why aren't they saying or putting up doing that? But really, if we're not diligent, if we don't tell ourselves we're responsible in as much as anyone else, then it will be left undone, and we will continue to have this disparity. And it's a great disparity because from what I've read, over 650,000 people a year go through human trafficking. Imagine that, 650,000 people a year. And this little group that I'm putting up, this is not even a 1%.
No.
And these are just kids who were missing in August and some in September and whatever. Look, that means as we speak here, there is what they say on an average about 1,600 people a day are snatched.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
Somebody getting snatched at this moment. They're getting snatched at this moment as we're speaking.
It's insane. The stats are insane. So why are we discussing it this way? Because I think you know that no one here is ignorant, really. We're just not aware completely, and I'm still learning myself. But that we have to stand up and assume some responsibility for what is or isn't going to happen to make our streets safe. It's not just about new paved roads and garbage cans put on every corner. Those are a start, because blight does happen easily in dirty, neighborhoods, and neighborhoods that you're forced to walk 4 or 5 blocks a mile to get to a store, or neighborhoods where people are always partying and they seem like they don't care about anything. It makes it easy for people to come in and do things around them, which is right now part of the climate of what's going on in America, is that people are partying and having a good time because they want release. And I get it. We all need a vacation. Black folks really need a vacation. But at the end of the time, you don't want to be on vacation and the tsunami hits.
Right. Say that. Say that.
You don't want to be vacationing so much on the beach at South Shore and partying and drinking up.
And that's another reason, the drug epidemic plays on
intoxicated, spiritually intoxicated, away from taking action to do things that will better these situations. We're entering, and we have entered into a state of mind where our government is not protecting every aspect of what it is that we thought we held dear. And let's be honest, they weren't really doing it for us like that anyway, or really any other community. It is always another level of people who receive those kind of services. So how right now can we, or why wouldn't we right now make it an effort to have our own small community townhomes, town conversations,
Right.
We need to come in town halls. We all need to come together and talk.
Yes.
Here at the Female Solution, Naima, Zelda, Asada, Mama Africa, Cicely, Zaina, all of us, we can all, Mama, look, I'm telling you, we can formulate what small groups and start taking action to proliferate information, to talk about and go in and teach, take some of our strengths and use them to help to fortify what's on the ground happening, because it's not going to get better. With people not wanting to go work on farms, they probably are being harvested for farm work. For people, right? For men, look, we talked about men who drug you just because there's and it just as it's painful to say, they're buttholes about accepting the fact they don't want to be told no, so they want to drug you.
Yes.
And now you're trafficked for just one-time throwaway use.
Yes.
So there are a lot of things we have to understand, that one small action can help to clarify. No, we're putting a stop to this, not right here, not anymore today.
And as women, this mostly happens to us, right? To us. So as women, we got to take this by the handlebars, because how it affects the growth of the whole community. It affects the growth of a whole community, because now you're physically and mentally hurting women who are the producers of this world. So if we're under attack, because we're under attack, we have to stand up. We have to stand up because we're under attack. Women of all colors and all ethnic groups are under attack in this thing. And we are the producers of life. And how we make life is really how it's going to be. So if we all messed up and they didn't traffic us, the world is going to be in a hell basket. So that's why, as women, we got to take this by the handlebars, because it's mostly happening to us. And we know how the world has looked at us, as second-rate citizens. So they don't care as much. Because I believe if this was like a men thing, but this is almost like a women thing. And how they don't look at us. We're still the second tier. We're still not getting paid as a man. We're still not getting the accolades that we should get as being women. So even as being a woman, that's why we have to step into this game. That's why we have to step, because we already know how they value our lives. And in a lot of cultures, we are not valuable. We are not valuable. So that's why this thing continues to grow on the vision on how they see women. And that's why it's not like if you have a man and his stuff, private parts start working, they trying to find all kind of ways to get that thing back working. But as far as women, we the second tier. So it's not like let's go and do something. So we have to do something.
Well, what's really clear that women have always been at the front line doing what and all that needs to get done. And I won't say that there haven't been men, have not been, but we can't be caught up in gender roles.
Oh no.
We have to be caught up in the generation of those who are now trans.
But I'm saying people who are human trafficking are mostly women. Women.
Okay, now that's a point that you got really strong on. Right. Women are being human trafficked, but they're also participating in human trafficking.
That's what I'm saying.
And a lot of people don't know that there are a lot of women that you see every day who are helping to exploit human trafficking by knowing girls and got young men. They do. Women are really, you're right. They
don't even, as far as rape and women, Detroit has like a backlog of hundreds of years of rape kits that they never been through. It's women.
And right here, Lawana says, and we're getting out of time. I want to get it because I only got like less than a minute.
Oh,
she
wow.
says, far too many people are listening, say this and that didn't happen, even though they weren't there and evidence is in plain sight. Police ignore women. Naima says, you're right. That's why we women have to care about us. So let's come back and let's have a conversation about we women caring about us. How are we going to stimulate some change with caring about us outside of just having the conversation and sharing what the stats have been? How do we become our own report system and base of confirmation, right? And I know that there will be men who will join us. Like today, we had Lawrence Lenoir, and we had Bill Morton come in the room, and there are others who will come. And I want to thank everybody who came today on this important subject as we discuss human trafficking part 2. So let's go into another phase of this, and let's talk about the empowerment of women and how we can really actualize change through the basis of a need, something, just a simple need, how we can take that and use it to do other things. And one of the things I really love about the tree that is a part of what Naima did to create the female solution, it shows a tree with women's faces all over it, right? And so we can be the seed and we can germinate new ideas and confrontations about these kind of critical issues. One critical issue is the stimuli for dismantling greater other problems that exist. Recognizing and knowing that we and some of the aunties and sisters are out here doing things that are damaging our communities further and greater. And we have to become truth tellers to ourselves first. Face yourself in the mirror, stand up to it, in it, and on it. And Naima says, and I'm going to close with that, you're right. That's why we women have to care about us. I want to thank you, Jazzie, for coming in and on your second visit to Coffee Break with Senabella. And I just want to say, it's been truly my blessing and honor to greet you, meet you, know you, and become more aware of you. I plan on continuing with you. And I want everybody to know how much I appreciate your coming here. Please stop, follow, like, share on this content. Talk about it. Hit me up anytime if you have my handles. You know where to find me at on Facebook and in Messenger and every place else, and Instagram and YouTube. Share, share, share. We do need to share this information. Let's take some responsibility. Thank you so much. This has been Coffee Break with Senabella. Again, thank you, Jazzie.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.